Trending by taking reactions to Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's dramatic return to the National Assembly on Tuesday. After a grueling 6-month suspension, the Kogi Central lawmaker arrived at the National Assembly complex, accompanied by a crowd of supporters, just hours after her office in the Senate wing was unsealed. The senator's return wasn't without controversy. Speaking to journalists before entering her office, Akpoti-Uduaghan revealed she had learned of her reinstatement through news reports and social media videos rather than official communication from the National Assembly management.
I read on the news, online news, that our office has been opened. I even saw a video where the clerk was opening the door to the office himself. So as at this moment, I have not been officially communicated to, because I expect an institution like the National Assembly should have some administrative procedures and processes whereby communications will be written. The last written communication we got from the clerk was that which says that we are not allowed to resume because the case is at the appeal court. He also mentioned that it was within the purview of the Senate to lift this illegal suspension that had even already expired.
This was quite strange, Rufai. We were just talking about that they didn't even tell her that they didn't open. Well, you know, hundreds of supporters of Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan gathered at the National Assembly to welcome the returning lawmaker, but were barred from entering Parliament and dispersed with tear gas by security operatives. The supporters, who included activist and co-founder of the Bring Back Our Girls movement, Aisha Yusufu, thronged the National Assembly complex waving Nigerian flags, chanting, dancing and singing praises for the return of the Kogi Central lawmaker.
Peter for Natasha! Natasha for Nigeria! The princess of the Senate! You are taking your place today! You are a senator! Nobody can remove you! Your people are with you! God is with you! This is the wife of Alan Brown!
There's no problem, you're looking up for what?
Tear gas at the National Assembly complex. They were not even, acting up. They were not. They were just there to welcome their lawmakers. Yes. Their constituents. What do you call them?
They're representatives.
No, that's what they call them, street urchins.
Well, all right. Well, immediately after resuming her office, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan launched a blistering attack on the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, accusing him of running the National Assembly like a dictatorship and treating her as his personal servant. The Kogi Central lawmaker made the explosive remarks while addressing journalists in her office. She described her 6-month ordeal as a test of resilience against institutional injustice.
In everything, it just shows that sometimes it's good to put the institutions to test. We can't cow down in the face of injustice. No one is more Nigerian than us. Senator Akpabio is not more of a senator than I am. He's not a governor of this place. And he treated me as if I was his servant or I was a domestic staff in his house. It's very unfortunate that at this time, after so many years of democracy, we would have a National Assembly be run by such dictatorship. It's totally unacceptable. As for me, I'm glad to be here. And even though we have been illegally suspended, no day have I hesitated in effectively carrying out my duties as a senator of Kogi Central to the very best of my capacity.
And we have seen that Ayo, she has been doing her job. Well, the fiery comeback has already set social media ablaze, with many anticipating fresh political battles within the Senate as Natasha's return promises to reignite tensions over Akpabio's leadership style. I'll take a tweet. This person wrote on X, Another episode of the Senate reality show featuring Natasha versus Akpabio. Can we get back to real issues like minimum wage, ASU strikes, and insecurity? Natasha says she was treated like a servant, but millions of Nigerians are treated worse daily by a system she's part of. Maybe start fighting for them, not just for respect in the Senate. The Senate is turning into a personal battlefield. Nigerians are tired of watching elites fight for relevance while the country burns. Another ex-user wrote, I express my admiration and commendation for your courage in standing up for your beliefs. It is indeed unfortunate and unjust that we are faced with governance by authoritarian figures, which undermines the strength of our institutions, thus weak institution. I mean, I think I like that tweet, Ayo. I'll come over to you. I believe that this story has come again in the front burner. And like, you know, the other Twitter user alluded to, there's going to be another version of a Natasha versus Akpabio saga, because obviously she did accuse him of dictatorship and treating her like a servant. But I don't know what your thoughts are with, you know, the fact that they tear-gassed her people, her constituents that were there, and the fact that, you know, they unsealed her office without her knowledge.
So we found out about the unsealing of her office while we were on air. So we, you know, in the newsroom, virtual newsroom, we saw pictures that the sergeant at arms and the clerk of the Senate had gone to make a show of unsealing her office. And from her interview, we then discovered that she wasn't even informed. I know it put us in that situation as to, okay, this unsealing, does it mean that the Senate is now willing to receive her? Does it mean they're setting aside the court case which they had cited as the reason why they could not admit her following the end of her 6-month suspension? A number of questions around this. And if we're going to build strong institutions, which we continuously advocate here on this table, we have to ensure that we get to the bottom of this. It's not enough for us to just wake up one morning and all is forgiving, kumbaya, let's move on. And well, that's important, because like someone, the earlier ex-user had said that now it's just joke, you know, we're making a joke of the Senate, whereby serious issues ought to be debated on the floor of the Senate. However, I dare say that this is a serious issue, because if we don't get it right, we'll continue to see matters like this emerge, and we'll continue to have disgraceful actions on different parts and different ways from the Senate. So I think it's important to get to the bottom of this. However, I do believe that, as Justice Binta Nyako had said, the people of Kogi Central deserve representation. And it is a shame that in the last 6 months, their voices were literally silenced because there was no voice for them in the Senate. And that's another thing that we need to look into and really open and see what could have gone wrong and how we can correct it for next time. We shouldn't have people in Nigeria whose voices are silenced. I'm talking about silencing voices. A group of people exercising their right to protest, peaceful protest, or they're not even protesting. They're just showing solidarity, support to Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, and we're tear-gassed. For what reason? We are too used to using, these forceful actions to disperse citizens of Nigeria, citizens who, despite all challenges, continue to exercise their right and show support because they wanted their voices heard, and then they were tear-gassed. For what reason? Did they behave in a disruptive manner? Were they disrupting any legislative proceedings, which, by the way, they are not there on recess? So I want to understand why tear gas was used on the people. Let's not get used to nonsense. Let's not get used to bad behavior. I think it's very important to state that. But then that Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is there. I'm glad she said she continued to work for her constituents. Let us get work done. Yes. Let them come back from their long recess and actually begin to represent the interests of those who have put their trust in them by electing them to represent them in the Senate. That's what we want to see. But lastly, I want to say this. Beyond Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, the reason why this was very important was we're not just fighting for the person. As we often say, we are fighting for the institution or fighting for the position. It can be Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan today. It can be someone else tomorrow. And if we don't speak up, we will continue to see this kind of undemocratic actions, almost dictatorial in its nature, happen in the Senate. And that's not what we want. We are defending Nigeria's institution, not just an individual.
All right.